Orhan Ghazi, the son of Osman Ghazi, was commanded by the siege of Bursa, which was performed in 1320. Meanwhile, Osman Ghazi became sick. Orhan Ghazi was putting the pressure on the one hand, Bursa on the other hand in Iznik. The cities were expected to surrender. Continuing their invasion, Orhan Ghazi and his cavalry conquered Mudanya in 1321. This settlement was renovated with Ottoman construction. Orhan Ghazi asked them to continue their lives in their homes, the Byzantine people who lived here also. The Ottoman Empire was growing over the years. It constantly allowed Muslim immigrants from Anatolia. The army was now equal to the strength of the entire Byzantine army. Orhan Ghazi was the first Sultan to make arrangements in the Ottoman army. Also in 1324, Ghazi became a part of the Ottoman lands. By 1326, Bursa could no longer bear the siege of the Ottoman and handed over the city to the Ottoman state. Bursa became the capital of the Ottoman state. However, when the city was conquered, Osman Ghazi died. His funeral was buried in Bursa. Now he became known as Orhan Ghazi, Sultan, and proved himself as a continuation of the collapsed Seljuk state. The conquest of Bursa was the most important start for the Ottoman state. The Ottoman Empire that ruled the world was now on the stage of the world. Orhan Ghazi, who ascended the throne after the death of Osman Ghazi, was being the strongest of the Anatolian principalities with the conquest of Bursa. Orhan Ghazi was the first Ottoman Sultan mentioned as Sultan. Orhan Ghazi was mentioned as king even in the Byzantine Empire. His father, Osman Ghazi, handed over the state government to Orhan Ghazi in the last 6 years before he died, and this made him an experienced sultan. He was also getting along with his brother Alauddin. Alauddin recognized his brother Orhan Ghazi as Sultan and didn't want to have any say in the throne. Therefore, Orhan Bey appointed his brother Alauddin as the high commander of the Ottoman army. For 5 years, when Orhan ascended the throne, the Ottoman Empire gathered oneself up and finally the new conquests began. He wanted to put an end to the conquest of Iznik, which for many years continued. Thusly, on March 7, 1331, the Ottoman Empire brought under control Iznik, which had been besieged for 28 years. the second largest city in the Byzantine Empire, after the rest conquered by the Ottoman Empire. Izmit became a city of Islam completely. Some churches have been converted into a mosque. Muslim folk also placed here. Byzantine Emperor Lord Andronikos Palaiologos fled because of the conquest of Iznik and marched on Orhan Ghazi with his army of 8,000 people. The battle came true in Palaicanon. However, the Ottoman army managed to defeat the Byzantine army by giving only 275 martyrs. The emperor was also wounded running away. Thereby, Ottoman Empire power in Anatolia was registered. (1331). The Ottoman Empire's power was heard all around with conquest of Iznik, which under the Byzantine Empire. The first Ottoman Great Madrasa, Muslim theological school, was founded by Orhan Ghazi in Iznik. For 3 years, a period without war enabled the new Ottoman territories to be Islamized and the state to recover and break new regulations. The Byzantine Empire had no serious settlement in Anatolia. The most important Byzantine Empire's settlements were conquered by Ottoman armies. Therefore, Orhan Ghazi now wanted to grow by adding Anatolian beyliks also to the Ottoman state. In 1334, the Ghazi Principality to the west of the Ottoman lands would increase the naval force of the Ottoman Empire. In a short time, Orhan Ghazi took this principality under of his auspices. After the Ghazi Principality lands were added to the Ottoman lands, the territories governed by the Ottoman state doubled, and Çanakkale, which had strategic importance, was under the control of Orhan Ghazi. Territories on the northern side of the state still belonged to the Byzantine Empire. Orhan Ghazi, who took the Ghazi Principality under auspices, turned his direction back to Byzantine lands. Izmit was conquered by the Ottoman raiders. Cavalry forces continued their progress and came to the opposite shore of the Bosphorus Strait. The appearance of the Ottoman cavalry from Constantinople was threatening the Byzantine Emperor. The Ottoman Empire left behind a centuries-old period and began to prove itself to earth. It was conquered the lands under the well-known Byzantine Empire and settled down to the Dardanelles and the Bosphorus. While the Byzantine Emperor was dealing with the Ottoman Empire in Anatolia, it had to struggle with the Serbs. There was no sign of the glory of the ancient Byzantium, and it became an increasingly shrinking empire. Emperor Cantacuzenos, who could not afford the Ottomans, wanted to make peace with Orhan Ghazi. Orhan Ghazi married one of his daughters to and provided a peace treaty. The Byzantine Empire was shaken by both the drone wars and the internal revolts and the other wars. Thessaloniki was occupied by the rebels. The emperor wanted to take this place back to his own administration, but he had no military power to take over this place. So he asked for help from his groom Orhan Ghazi. Izni governor Shehzade Süleyman Badi received orders with his father Orhan Ghazi by passing through Çanakkale to the Byzantine emperor sent military aid. For the first time, the Turks stepped foot on the European territory with the alliance. They discovered the beauty of this place. The Byzantine emperor also gave the Chimpe fortress at Gallipoli as a temporary base for the Turks. Together, the armies of the Ottoman and Byzantine empires were moving on to Thessaloniki. However, with the cause of a rebellion in Anatolia, Orhan Ghazi called back Süleyman Pasha urgently to Anatolia. Süleyman Pasha immediately spent his armies in Anatolia. The Byzantine emperor, with the help of Turkish sailors, managed to save Thessaloniki. The Turks discovered the European lands for the first time with this passage. Now the objectives of the Turks will be to advance on the European territory. The lands of the Ottoman Empire had been continuing to grow rapidly. They expanded the boundaries to the city of Ankara. Here the conflict with the Karamanlıları Principality was continuing. Three million people lived in the Ottoman Empire, and the army had reached 40,000 cavalry and 75,000 infantry forces. There were also warships in the Sea of Marmara. The alliance between the Byzantine Empire and the Ottoman state was continuing. The Serbian and Bulgarian Hus crossed the frontier, merged with each other and attacked. The Byzantine emperor once again asked Orhan Ghazi for help. In 1352, Shehzade Süleyman Pasha moved back to Europe on the order of his father. Chimpe Castle in Gallipoli was given to him again as a base. The Ottoman and Byzantine armies merged and managed to defeat the Serbian and Bulgarian armies near the Metoka. In exchange for this success. Chimpe Castle was given to Süleyman Pasha. However, after a while, the emperor demanded that the castle of Chimpe be returned to Byzantium. This incident broke the Byzantine and Ottoman peace. Gallipoli, Kesan, Uppsala, Lüleburgaz, Tekirdağ and Çorlu were conquered. In 1357, in Çorlu, Süleyman Pasha died, thereby a fall of the horse during the hunt. Orhan Ghazi was very upset about these news and became ill. He gave the government to his great son First Murad. After the death of his brother Süleyman Pasha, Şehzade Murad took command of the armies in Europe. In 1361, Dimetoka, one of the largest cities of Byzantium, and Edirne was seized. This was the capital of the Ottoman Empire. In March 1362, Orhan Ghazi, who because of increasing disease died at the age of 81. Thus, Murad takes the title of Sultan and he was declared as the third Sultan of the Ottoman state.